FM WBAP. Your weekend starts in 3 hours. But until then, I'm going to get you all caught up on the news. We're going to have a lot of fun today, actually. You're going to get some giggles out of today's show. But we're going to start with some serious stuff. The Iran-Israel back and forth continues. Now, I would say they keep saying on it's escalating on Fox News, and then I turn over to MSNBC. They say it's escalating. And then I look at the numbers, and it's not really escalating. It kind of seems to be on a nice little downward trend. Now, last night was a bad night in the fact that one of the missiles from Iran actually made it to its target, hit an apartment building, 200 injured. That's terrible. But it's a little more complex than that, because we're getting a new layer that's being added into the discussion here in the last 24 hours or so. And that seems to be some flights going from China to Iran and back. What is this? If you look at the airspace maps over Iran right now, all the flights in the world, commercial flights and whatnot, cargo flights, who knows, are being diverted around Iran. It's like, it looks like a big fart cloud, basically. There will be planes that are going right for it, and then they'll just bow around it when they get to the Iranian airspace and rejoin whatever trajectory they were previously on. And then you see a couple of planes going straight through. It's like, excuse me, Mr. Pilot, Leroy, did you forget to turn? Did you zig when you should have zagged? No. These are cargo flights from China to Iran. That's a big uh-oh. Let's talk about speculation on this uh-oh. What could be on those planes? So best case scenario for us, hey, they just had some Amazon orders that they were expecting, and that's all it is. It's just, I don't know, maybe the housewives of Tehran got some new outfits off Temu. That's best case scenario. But that seems a little too easy, doesn't it? Would you really be running into a war zone just for some crop tops and maybe some little flare bottom pants from Temu? Doubt it. Is it humanitarian aid? Iran is in a tough spot as far as their blockade goes. They have big sanctions going. They have their international trade efforts really strangled. And so are they getting enough food in? Are they getting enough medical supplies in? Are they getting enough things to keep the people of Iran happy during this tough time? Is China helping with that? And then let's keep going down the dark, doomy, speculative area. Are they sending them weapons? Are they sending them missiles? Are they sending them replenishing their air defense capabilities? Are they sneaking them nuclear material? Are they sneaking them a nuclear weapon? So the speculation can get real dark real quick on these flights. But that seems to be a huge concern. China does not have our best interest at heart. China does probably like the fact that Iran is a thorn in our side. And in much the same way, Ukraine and Russia has been useful from an American perspective as to weaken Putin. China propping up Iran gives them a chance through a proxy to exhaust some of our resources, our military capabilities, to show our hands on what we can and can't do with drones. So China also gets a lot of really cheap oil from Iran. Now, Iran they're not really supposed to be selling to anybody, but they do sell, and they claim to about 17 countries. 17 countries on the planet are willing to buy oil from Iran. Biggest purchaser of Iranian oil, China. And because Iran is cut off from the international banking system, they're cut off really from the international world markets. They don't have the same supply and demand pressures and regime that we live under and OPEC even lives under. So they have to sell their oil at a super steep discount. Now, if you're China, Iran is not your number one supplier of oil. That would be Russia. Nobody imports more oil in the world than China on a daily basis. Their number one customer, Russia, or client, I should say. They're the customer. But the incentives is reversed from the Iranian point of view, and China probably holds that oil in higher regard because they get it so much cheaper than they get it from everywhere else. And so you can kind of see a couple of overlaps here. We have strangled Putin, kicked him out of the international banking system, sanctioned the hell out of him, tried to cut off some of his, cut off the Nord Stream pipeline and whatnot. What does he do? Turns around and sells to China. We try and do that to Iran. That doesn't matter. They turn around and sell to China. China's a big problem. China is the reason, one of the reasons why sanctions aren't as painful as they otherwise would be if China wasn't such a butthead and antagonist to our national self-interest. So enough of the speculating. I mean, you're welcome to call in 800-288-9227 and tell me what you think is on those planes. But coming up next, I have one of the great experts on China. He's a Gatestone Institute senior fellow, Gordon Chang, who was just on Mornings with Maria Bartiromo this morning talking about this same thing. He was awesome. We got him booked for you. You'll hear him next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Top story of the day, the Iran-Israel conflict continues on with a new wrinkle here. Some flights from China to Iran, cargo flights. What could that mean? Well, let's ask my next guest. He's from the Gatestone Institute and probably one of the best known China hawks in America, Gordon Chang, back on the James Show. Welcome back, Mr. Chang. All right, let me ask you a question all of us wish we knew. What is on those flights? What do you think? Sure. Mhm. Well, Gordon Chang, China gets a lot of really cheap oil from Iran, so they probably have a good incentive to keep the status quo. So this seems to be dominoes that keep falling. We're talking with Gordon Chang. Gordon G. Chang on Twitter is a great follow. So we don't like the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. They're all backed up by Iran. So we go and we start dealing with Iran. Well, they're backed up by China. At what point do we have to deal with China? Yeah, I looked it up. Sorry about that. I looked it up before the show. China is Russia's number one customer. Yeah, so they're kind of the same thing. You know, we would like for Russia to stop meddling in Ukraine. So we put on all these sanctions, targeting their oil. But if China's not going to honor the sanctions, that really doesn't do a whole lot. So they've really got the financial backing for both of these war fronts. Well, that seems like cutting the snake's head off. There is, if you can get China to stop being a bad actor, because then the sanctions would work, and Putin would either have to come to the table or crumble. The Ayatollahs would either have to come to the table or crumble. That would probably diminish Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis to about nothing. So, really, it seems the biggest source of our problems worldwide isn't Iran or Russia; it's China. Well, let me hear your best guess. I know we don't know what is on those flights, but do you think it's like something military, like ammunitions and drones? Do you think it's more centrifuges or uranium? Do you think it's just humanitarian aid and food? I mean, if you had to guess, where would you put your chips? What's the deal with Luxembourg here? These freighters said they had a final destination of Luxembourg when they turned off their transponders, and then they never reappeared over European skies. Is Luxembourg just a scapegoat for this, or are they just I don't know what their involvement is. Gordon Chang, Gatestone Institute, on the James Show with us. Does Iran see itself as a proxy of China? Because I think the Chinese see Iran as a proxy, but the Iranians think, well, we're just getting some help from our neighbor. All right. Well, thanks for some of the inside scoop there. Where do we find your work online? I'm a big fan of your Twitter, Gordon G. Chang, but what else you got going on? Thank you very much. Gordon Chang, once again on the James Show, clearing up or trying to clear up what's going on with these mystery flights from China to Iran. But coming up next, speaking of Iran, you're going to hear some crushing responses to The View a couple days saying that being black in America is the same as living in Iran. That's just going to get blown out of the water next. 800-288-9227. It's the James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, also on 93.3 FM WBAP. So in the Iran scenario, the debate about the war has a terrible habit of devolving into ad hominem attacks. And the greatest example, we played this first for you yesterday on the show, was Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin from The View actually arguing with one of their co-hosts, Alyssa Farah, saying being black in America is just as oppressive as being in Iran. Absolutely ludicrous statement. But in case you haven't heard it yet, let me go ahead and catch up the people who missed it yesterday. And then we're just going to blow this out of the water because this is really clouding a lot of people's judgment on what's going on over there, on what we should do, on what we have a right to do, on what Israel has a right to do. And this moral relativism is at the root of the problem. So let's review. This is Whoopi and Sonny from The View arguing with their co-host Alyssa Farah 2 days ago on The View.
And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Wow.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not anyone at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But yeah, I know that. I know that.
God, she
and
just
we all
dismisses
know
it
that.
immediately.
But every day we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you because that's not what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot have property. They cannot leave them.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent.
Good.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
Let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a black person in this country, let's say, because I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Just try to understand from their point of view. From that point of view, this country does not do them well. Does not go for them.
I completely acknowledge that.
And we shouldn't compare atrocities.
If you're talking about Iran, of course, is doing worse things. But relatively speaking, it feels bad.
Okay, but I think you know that Iran is significantly worse.
Yeah, it feels bad on this side. So here's the great. I did a rundown on the difference in your full complement of human rights in America versus Iran. But Fox News had a guest on. Now, she was born in Iran. They had to flee in the 1979 revolution. Sounds like she was educated in Britain or something because she has a little bit of an English accent, but she looked quite Americanized. Her name's Alicia Laban. I'm sorry, I'm bad with Farsi names. But she did a great just tear down. And it's a mindset that deserves to be torn down, this equivalency.
And because, you know, the world has been saturated with so much disinformation, this disinformation that was heightened particularly after October 7th, where there was this narrative that, you know, these terrorists are just freedom fighters and they're not that bad. It normalized this idea that actually these regimes in other parts of the world are not that bad, and maybe they're not even that different to the United States. Then you have people who are living in the lap of luxury saying things like living in the United States is exactly the same as living in Iran. Well, it's not anything like living in Iran, because Iran, they are hanging people from cranes statistically once every 6 hours. Just 2 weeks ago, they amputated 2 people's arms because they were accused of theft. Did they have due process? Did they have fair trials? No, that does not exist under the Islamic regime in Iran. When protesters came out in the streets to protest against this regime, which is our unequivocal right under the Constitution in the United States, did they get met with the same treatment? No, they were shot to death and they had their eyes shot out as punishment. So my response is, how dare you, how dare anybody compare the life that they're fortunate enough to live in the United States to what Iranian people are going through now and have been going through for the past 46 years.
Yeah, I'll admit, she did that better than I did yesterday. But I want you to dig into what Whoopi and Sunny are saying there, because a lot of your neighbors believe this. A lot of you are married to people that think like this. A lot of you have daughters and kids and neighbors and sister-in-law and maybe your mom or your aunt. And, you know, Evan Said explains this mindset so good in his books, but I'll try and paraphrase what he would say, because when Whoopi and Sunny say being black in America is just as oppressive as being in Iran right now, they're not talking about America as a whole. They don't see themselves as the bad guy. They don't see themselves as the oppressor. They don't see Team Blue as the oppressors. They see them as the ones on the right side. They're only talking about Team Red here. They're talking about you. They think you are like Iran. And in some ways, if you stay on the real shallow end of the baby pool, you can maybe pull off that level of I don't know, self-delusion. Because, hey, look, they're really into religion. Team Red and in the hinterlands and flyover country, they're overly religious. And sure, Iran likes to oppress women, but yeah, those MAGA people, they sure do love to oppress women. So, as long as you take on these silly stereotypes that really have no foundation in the real world, and you just carry through the narrative that they keep being fed, you can easily see why someone would say, oh, yeah, the Team Red just as bad as Iran. Now, that's not true. I know it's not true. You know it's not true. But what we're trying to explain here is, how can Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin and your sister-in-law and maybe your daughter, how can they say such silly, obviously not true things? Well, number one, they have a cognitive dissonance going on in their head that they just can't fill. And they just can't resolve it without silly little claims like this. Maybe they'll grow out of it. Maybe they won't. Whoopi Goldberg, not going to grow out of it. Your college-age daughter might grow out of it, but not if she keeps listening to this stuff. That's for damn sure. Make her listen to the James Show. That might help a little bit. But don't make any mistakes. When they say America is just as oppressive as Iran, they're talking about you. You are just as bad as the Ayatollahs. Now act accordingly. Coming up on the James Show, between the uncertainty with the Iran-Israel war, the big beautiful bill, gas prices, tariffs, World War III. Hear how this could affect your money next with Spencer McGowan of Net Worth Radio. Coming up on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there. Happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Let's talk about your money for a second, because you're not getting the straight skinny over here. If you look at the S&P 500, the broadest of the major indices, not only have your stocks recovered where they were before the tariff dip happened, they're actually 5% above. The S&P 500 is 5% higher than where it closed on April 1st, the day before Liberation Day, when you saw the first big tumble. And it's almost to your all-time record high. Where's the reporting on that? You got reporting all day, every day during the decline, and now that it's recovered and blown past it, nothing. Well, that just proves you cannot trust much of the media when it comes to accurate or fair reporting, when it comes to things that affect your money. You know, this shouldn't even be political, but somehow even talking about finances is. My next guest can help clear up some of the fog here. Spencer McGowan's back on from Net Worth Radio, which you can hear on the weekends here on WBAP. Welcome back, Spencer McGowan. I was just making the case that the economy, especially the stock markets, deserve a lot more credit on how well they've recovered. So let's break down some of this, because I had a lot of people who were emailing me, and most of them were I feel like it was politically motivated. In that first kind of downturn that we had in February, people were saying, this is a bigger deal. You need to be talking about this because people's retirement accounts are destroyed. And you know, of all the people that called or sent an email or a Facebook message, none of them have written me another message saying, oh, well, it's all recovered now. My bad. I guess I was being hyperbolic and sensational for nothing. Well, here's what I find so frustrating is all these people that were hyperbolic. Your retirement's going to be destroyed. Your IRA is just getting decimated, and people are being screwed over by these terrible policies. They're still going to be in business after this. And in fact, next year when they get all these predictions wrong, they're still going to keep their job. And I find it frustrating that we don't get rewarded for being right, and these other people don't face any consequences for being not just wrong, like so 180 degrees wrong. Yeah, she is so oppressed, Spencer McGowan. Don't get me started on her. We just did her in the last segment. Well, she's talking about how oppressed she is being black in America while she's sitting on a throne of $50 million net worth, Spencer. Please, oppress me like that. Well, you know what? You kind of surprised me there. I had not heard the Atlanta Feds. Is this their prediction for the second quarter is above 3%? Yeah, so we have a better than average GDP growth. By the way, we're talking with Spencer McGowan, Net Worth Radio, heard on the weekends here on WBAP. But what this also means, if we do have anything that's a positive number, much less a 3.4%, is all this talk about recession is gone. That was all wrong, too, for all the people that were saying, oh, we're in a recession right now, or he's driving us into recession, or these tariffs are going to cause a recession, or the big, beautiful bill, or the Israelis and Iranian moves, or whatever. People are predicting recession. These people also all owe us an apology. All right, Spencer McGowan, Net Worth Radio. What's coming up on the show this weekend? That sounds interesting. Well, this is Spencer McGowan. You can hear him on Net Worth Radio here on WBAP on the weekends. What time are you on? Thank you very much. Spencer McGowan, Net Worth Radio again. Talking some calm sensibility, non-sensational economic wisdom that happens to turn out to be correct more often than the people on TV, which I find amazingly frustrating. Coming up next, though, we have a Fun Friday segment. The dumbest man in Congress, Hank Johnson of Guam Might Tip Over fame. He just released a parody song. I'm not kidding. This isn't me like making AI sing in the voice of Hank Johnson. He actually pulled out a guitar and he's going to sing you a song, and it's amazingly terrible, and you're going to love it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Ooh, I said the old way. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Let me get that straight. So on a Friday, I like to do fun stuff anytime I can squeeze it in, and anytime I can squeeze in good old Hank Johnson, it's an even better Friday. I just love this guy so much for the content he has given us. And if you're not familiar with the name Hank Johnson, he is what has been recognized by the James Show as the dumbest man in Congress. And that stems from a comment he made back in 2010. Gosh, we're getting old, aren't we? Where in a congressional hearing on C-SPAN in front of God and everybody, he was concerned with telling a Navy admiral that Guam might capsize. The island
my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Oh my God, I just love that. That's one of the best sound bites of all time. Because not just for the comedic effect, but to also highlight the fact that he's been in Congress since, I guess he started in 2008, 2007, somewhere around there. But needless to say, he's been reelected 7 times since saying something that dumb. In fact, just a few months after he said that, he got reelected. And so he is just a prime example of you can just be as dumb as your left shoe. But if you're an incumbent in Congress and you're in good standing with the party, air quotes, TM, whatever you want to put next to it, then you can just sit there and have a nice, cushy life. The voters don't care how dumb you are. They perceive you're on their team, and they can just keep you in. All you got to do is vote the right way, and the party machine can keep you going. What you probably don't know about Hank Johnson's seat is the person who was previously there. Remember Cynthia McKinney? Oh, man, wasn't she great? She was just a fount of fantastic audio bites for the talk radio world. And I thought I was going to miss her when she was gone. But I really do feel like there's a God sometimes when you replace someone who, she was a person like the Tootsie Roll commercial, whatever it is, I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me. She was one of the people that whatever it is she thinks she sees becomes racism to her. Everything that happened to her was because of racism. And it's kind of annoying at first, and then it easily kind of melds into comedy. And like the lack of self-awareness of how ridiculous these people sound, I think is the best part. You know, the Dunning-Kruger effect. When you're ignorant, you don't know how dumb you sound to people who aren't. When you're unintelligent, you don't know when you sound dumb to people who are intelligent. In fact, you may think you're saying something intelligent, but for the people who really are, you know, firing on all cylinders in their head, you have no idea how crazy you sound. So not only did Hank Johnson, I mean, he thought he was dropping a spade card on there, and that's not a racial reference. I'm talking about the game of spades. He was putting the ace of spades on the hand there, and he was really just beclowning himself. He thought he was making a good point. He thought he was pulling a checkmate on a Navy admiral. Oh yeah, you didn't think about that, did you? So here he is again, same total lack of self-awareness. He puts out a song just for you on his X feed, Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days. He's sitting there with the guitar, and he does a rendition of Hey Joe from Jimi Hendrix, except he's changed some of the words where it's Hey Trump. First recognition here is I don't expect him to be a good guitar player. I'm not expecting him to do Van Halen's Eruption. He is just strumming with chords, but he could at least tune his guitar. Now, I'm not playing this because I'm punishing you. I'm playing this for the comedic value. This is going to be a minute and a half that you'll never get, almost 2 minutes that you'll never get back in your life. But I promise it's worth it because Hank Johnson wants you to hear this song. He thinks this helps. He thinks this makes people, you know, look at the video and be like, yeah, that's the team I'm on. Sure do love supporting these guys. This guy has to lose so much support for the Democrats. Like what a weight around their neck this guy is. But here's Hank Johnson's Trump song.
I'm compelled with a new guitar and with some thoughts about that old song, Hey Joe, you know, to give some commentary on where we are now.
Oh, please do.
Hey, Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand? Trump? Where you going with that gun in your hand? I'm going down the street and shoot down democracy.
Democracy.
You know I want to be a king someday.
Yeah, he does. That's why he already stepped down. That's hilarious.
I'm going down and shoot democracy down. You know I want to be the king someday.
Hold on, there's still 30 more seconds to this genius.
Hey, Donald Trump. We won't let you take our democracy down. Take it down to the ground. Hey, Trump. We won't let you take our democracy down. Burn it down to the ground.
Yes.
That's it, y'all.
Thank you, Hank. More, please. Put out a song a week. I'll do a whole segment for you. Every Friday, we'll do the next big hit from Congressman Hank Johnson, the man who thought Guam could tip over. Who is the anti-democracy people? Who are these people? Is anyone, raise your hand if you want us to stop voting on our elected leaders, because I don't think there's one person in office that holds that position, and I don't think there's really a decent conglomerate of voters. Who are y'all talking to? Who are the Nazis? Who are the fascists? No one is. They just create these like little fantasy men. Like, what are y'all going to do this weekend? You going to go in the forest and look for Bigfoot? You going to go snipe hunting? Is that what you're going to go do? God, I love that guy. I hope he gets reelected just until he dies in office. That's fantastic. Put out more songs, please. Coming up next on The James Show, conservative activist Raven Harrison and I will discuss if America has the guts to recognize these anti-ICE and Antifa protesters for what they are, terror groups. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. It's The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. My next guest is a conservative activist and now congressional candidate, Raven Harrison. And Raven, I wanted to bring you on because I saw last night, again, anti-ICE protesters in Portland were attacking a federal building, were attacking federal agents. They were using fireworks. There were other things that caught on fire. There was definitely some weapons that were used. You know, it wasn't just fisticuffs. And so how many times do American government institutions, buildings, law officers have to be attacked by a group before they're considered a terror group, Raven? Or one. One. Well, we've seen them do that because, you know, a lot of people think, well, terror groups, you got to be talking about like Hamas and Hezbollah and ISIS and groups like that, the Taliban maybe. But, you know, this is just some protesters that kind of get out of hand every once in a while. No, 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 no. The Proud Boys were considered a terror group and everyone was okay with considering them terrorists, throwing them in jail. Like the leader was Enrique Tarrio. He wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th, but because he's associated with the Proud Boys and it was deemed a terror group, he got rolled up and sent to jail for not even being there on January 6th. So I think turnabout's fair play. Well, Raven Harrison, I think this is an important distinction, not just, you know, to be fair, but because once they get labeled as a terrorist group, once, especially if the government recognizes them as an official terrorist group, then anyone who is organizing or funding these activities is now a criminal, and I think justly so. Oh, I totally agree. But also, you know, that means the people who donate to this, you're funding a terrorist organization, you know, and so it's easy to recognize like the Holy Land Foundation here and Garland got in trouble for funding terrorist organizations and everyone agreed, well, throw them under the bus. They shouldn't exist. Bro, anti-ICE protesters, Antifa, Indivisible, 5051, all of these organizations, same thing. They're in the same category. I love it. This is Raven Harrison. You can find ravenharrison.com has more info on not just her work, but also her run for Congress. So Raven, you're kind of spilling into something that cracks me up is when the people pretend like this isn't what you voted for. It's like, well, he said he was going to deport criminals, but now he's going to actually deport hardworking people who are they're just working. They pick your crops and they make your beds at the hotels and they cook your food in the kitchen. And is this what you voted for? Well, the answer is yes. Yeah. Yeah, I also like the idea that they act surprised when you don't support this, do you? Yes, and I think I understand because I think they thought we were lying to them when we're not voting for Trump because we support a Nazi or support a terrorist. We're just concerned about the border. I think they really think we're Nazis and we were just lying about border enforcement. Well, I'm glad you said flying spit there. You had Garrett hovering over the dump button, but it worked out fine. This is all right. This is the great Raven Harrison. How's your run for Congress going? All right, ravenharrison.com. It just forwards to Raven Harrison for Congress.com for now. And best of luck on your run. All right, now I'm going to ask you some of the same questions I was asking Raven now. Does America have the guts to recognize these anti-ICE and Antifa rioters as the terror groups that they are? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there. Welcome to the James Show. Happy Friday. I'm James Sparker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. There's a new pastime from some people in elected office who happen to be on Team Blue, and that's where you go try and look, I just want to ask some questions, and you act all indignant when people won't let you just barge into whatever speech they're giving or whatever event you're holding or whatever press conference is happening or whatever the security detail or protocol or scheduling issues are. No, you just show up and you try and butt your head into where it doesn't belong without following the regular rules, and then you act like some kind of martyr. Well, I was just trying to do the right thing and protect the Constitution and stop kings. And, this new wave started at the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility in New Jersey, and that was the original salvo where the mayor of Newark and Representative McIver and Bob Menendez, the corrupt guy, his son, and who was the other one? Bowden? I don't even remember. But McIver was the one that got charges thrown at her, but they didn't really follow up with it. And I was saying at the time, you have to charge this woman. You have to bring her to trial. You have to punish her. You have to put her in jail or give her a fine, or ideally, she should have been kicked out of Congress immediately, or at least there should have been a vote on kicking her out of Congress. And I even said, look, I have 4 kids. This is how it works with kiddos too. You have to stop this now, or it's going to continue. In fact, you have to stop this now and make a big show of it, or it's going to continue and get worse. So because we went soft on Representative McIver out of New Jersey, then we saw this repeated. You saw Jaya Pell and a couple other ladies from Congress try and go into a ICE detention facility in the Tacoma area. You saw them flying to El Salvador. And then, what was it, last week? The new senator from California, Padilla, tried to do the same thing. He tried to bum rush and just introduce himself into a Kristi Noem press conference or press event. Instead of floating her an email or texting her chief of staff or, my people will talk to your people and maybe we can sit down and ask some questions, he just thought he'd walk up through the security detail and just get on stage and ask her some questions. No, sir. So they grabbed him and he kept resisting. So they put him on the ground. They handcuffed him. And now he's a martyr. Now he gets to make all the rounds on all the TV shows and all the weekend shows and give all these statements and have press conferences. And again, no negative consequences are visited upon him, only positive consequences. So this is not going to stop. They have a mayor's election that's going on in New York City right now. New York City! And the New York City comptroller, his name's Brad Lander. He's one of the candidates for mayor of New York City, along with Anthony Weiner and Andrew Cuomo. Just, could y'all find 3 worse candidates? Because we know Cuomo and Weiner are seriously compromised and a little bit creepy, but apparently this Brad Lander guy is right up there with the creepiness factor too, because he's like, hey, if a congressman can do it, if a mayor of Newark can do it, if a senator can do it, then what about a good old city comptroller, the biggest city in America? So this is Brad Lander getting himself arrested by ICE 3 days ago.
You don't have to. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Ask me for a judicial warrant.
Press, we go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe.
This is like how my kids talk to each other. What? I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing here. And then you say, get out of her room. Get out of your sister's room. I'm not in her room. But he's standing in the doorway, so technically he's not in her room. But you're bothering her. You're doing it on purpose. And you're pretending like, what? I'm not doing anything to her. She wants you to leave and you're standing in her doorway. You don't have the right to kick me out of the hallway. You know what you're doing. We all know what you're doing. You're not some crusader of justice. And we know because our memories go longer than 5 seconds. We're not a goldfish like most of the media and half of our neighbors. We know this is for show. We know this isn't real. We know this isn't. I just have a legitimate concern about due process rights. No, you don't. Where was your concern about due process and constitutional rights during COVID? Were you getting yourself arrested trying to get into the press conference or press availabilities of elected officials then, or appointed officials? I guess Kristi Noem, appointed official. Well, were you getting yourself arrested when we were getting kicked out of our jobs, when our kids are being shut out from our schools, when they prevented you from going to church? Did Brad Lander get himself arrested and detained fighting for the rights of you to not have your grandmother die alone without her family around her? What about going to her funeral? What about when you weren't allowed to go to your mom's funeral while they had a 60,000 person procession for George Floyd's funeral in 2 different cities? No, I don't believe that I'm just trying to ask some questions. You don't have the right to detain an American citizen just for asking questions, just for a judicial. Shut up. You people are all lying. You are not heroic crusaders of justice. We went through COVID together, and you were the ones that couldn't kick us out of our jobs fast enough. You're the ones who couldn't put a mask on our children to get on an airplane fast enough. You couldn't lock the doors to my front church fast enough, could you? Crusaders of justice, my backside. You lying punks. Do they ever get themselves arrested or detained fighting for Americans? Did they ever get themselves arrested or detained fighting for you? When you lost your job or your husband lost his job? When you had to make the choice, geez, do I get this experimental shot that I don't want to get? Or do I keep my job? When Joe Biden was trying to mandate that all companies with more than 100 employees have to have a vaccine mandate? Where were no due process there? Did anybody go to court for that? Did you get your day in court? Or were these new king-like mandates for the No Kings people forced down your throat without any constitutional considerations? No, you people are lying. It's easy to disprove. It's all performative, and these people need to start being thrown under the bus. This isn't just some goobers who are like, oh, we're just trying to ask some questions, and now I'm just being victimized by literally Hitler. No, you lying little punks that are doing this all for show, and you know you're not going to be punished because you're not oppressed. You're in the privileged class. You're an elected official and a person in a position of power on Team Blue. So all the media is going to be on your side. All the deep state's going to be on your side. The judicial system and whatever hyper blue bubble that you live in is going to have your back. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up on The James Show, Steve Williford from the Gun Owners of America updates you on changes to your gun rights being debated right now. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there. Happy Friday. This is The James Show, and I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. Look, just because I'm getting so much feedback on the Hank Johnson song, I might have to play it again. Look, I know it was a big hit. If you're just joining us, Hank Johnson, the guy, the congressional representative from Georgia, he's been in Congress in D.C. for almost 20 years now. I guess, yeah, like 17 years. He's been reelected 7 times since he said famously in 2010 he thought Guam would tip over. Well, he pulled out his guitar and he wrote you a song and then he played and sang it for you. And it's only a minute and a half, but it feels like it's 10 minutes. Man, it feels like the length of Freebird. But his guitar is out of tune. His singing actually not that bad. He misses some notes there, but he doesn't have a terribly bad voice. But he rewrote the lyrics to Hey Joe, the Jimi Hendrix song, Hey Joe. Made it Hey Trump. So just to give you an example of what I'm seeing on my side here, KC on X sent me a message, says, I'm suing you and WBAP for playing this song because it gave me trauma. Oh, man. And then Seth said, that song was torture, Parker. So, man, if y'all love it that much, I might play it again before the end of the show. I didn't know it would be so popular. I didn't know it would be so universally revered. But also, stick around, because coming up at 4:30, we're playing Name That Artist, and I've got some tickets you may be interested in. Are you a fan of Seether or Daughtry? They'll be at the Pavilion Toyota Music Factory November 11th. Get tickets at livenation.com, or you can win tickets on Name That Artist coming up at about 4:30-ish. So stick around for that. And if you have to leave, I understand you're a busy person. Come back and check it out on the podcast. My next guest, Stephen Williford's coming back on from Gun Owners of America, a real gun rights lobby group. And what is going on? Well, there's all kinds of gun rights legislation that's in the mix, in the sausage machine in D.C., making zero headlines. Fill us in, but bring some of this stuff above the radar for us, Stephen. Well, it's amazing, and it is kind of an advantage that it is flying under the radar because there will probably be a large outcry in the media against it. But play devil's advocate for me, Stephen, because I never understood this. Why did they make short-barreled rifles illegal to begin with? I mean, I've heard because you could conceal it easier, but pistols are still legal, so it makes no sense to me, Stephen. Yeah, we know that act. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Taxes. The gun tax. That's amazing. Okay, so That's such good news. In many ways, we've seen gun rights expand dramatically over the last 30 years, starting with concealed carry and then constitutional carry. Now we're repealing some of these other just completely petty, trifling regulations here. I wonder if we'll ever get to the big dog and get rid of the background checks and the gun registration database and all that. Yes. Amen. Oh, well, Stephen Williford, Gun Owners of America, you're a great guest, but please let me know when you need some media help, some attention paid to the next battle for gun rights, because I would like to help you get rid of the registration and the background checks and the database and all that too. Oh, that's a good one. Hey, we just got to go. I got to do a news update. But Steve Williford, good talk. I wish you the best. You got a great organization there. Gunowners.org is the Gun Owners of America website. Thank you, sir. Coming up next, what did Jasmine Crockett say this time? She said you're mentally ill. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Your weekend starts in less than an hour. Stick with me. We're going to have fun for the rest of the show here. Not that the first half of the show wasn't fun, but if you missed it, go check out the podcast. Coming up in about 30 minutes, I'm going to be giving away some tickets. 2 tickets to see Seether and Daughtry. They'll be at the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory November 11th. If you don't want to wait, get tickets at livenation.com. But I'm giving away some on Name That Artist coming up in 2 segments from now. But right now, we have another exciting episode. What the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time?
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Governor Hot Wheels. And he is a hot ass mess, honey.
Queen of the liberal tea.
Thank you very much. Today's episode of what did Jasmine Crockett say this time spans 2 shows. She was on The View and she was on Katie Couric's podcast. Now, do you realize what's going on here? Jasmine Crockett, I'm sitting in her district right now. She is my front runner. Not that I prefer. It's just if I had to predict, if I had to put $20 on who I think is going to be on the Democrat ticket in 2028, Jasmine Crockett's on it. It's hers to lose. I don't know if she'll be the presidential candidate or the vice presidential candidate, but she is going to be on the ticket. Now, I want you to try and set our pre-existing bias aside and just recognize now what she says we think is just ridiculous, silly, sometimes abhorrent. But to the other side, to Team Blue, they love this stuff. This is what they dream about. This is what they cheer on. And if you want to see just the latest evidence how I think her performance and her media invites, she's just knocking them out of the park. Before I even play you Jasmine, let me show you how Whoopi introduced Jasmine Crockett on The View yesterday. And then I'm going to play you like the last 10 seconds or so when she said to kind of say goodbye. So the intro and outro for Jasmine Crockett on The View yesterday. Look at how insanely positive, glowing, dare I say biased, the coverage is. This lady's cruising.
From her sharp questions during House committee hearings to her choice words. For Republicans, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is being hailed as a one to watch in the Democratic Party. She's so much more than that. She's so much more than that. And we are so glad that she is here to answer our questions today. Please welcome back to this table, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Does anybody... I know you don't watch The View every day, but millions of people do watch The View, and don't dismiss it. The View is the most watched daytime talk show on network TV right now. So while you and I don't hold Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg up as intellectual betters, a lot of people do. And when they see their favorite people talk this positive about Jasmine Crockett, where God, I love her so much, I can't even get through the intro without laughing. She just, I love her so much. Here's the outro. Just slobbering devotion here. This is how much the media loves her.
Like if we, the people, say we are the donor class,
That's right.
then we can make anything happen with our $5 and $10.
Yes. He won twice. He won twice. Great. Never forget that.
And this is why she is so great. This is why. This is why. So, let's pay attention. Our thanks to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
All right, so they love it. The audience loves it. The media loves her. There's a reason why she's being invited on all these shows, more so than anyone else, more so than an AOC, more so than an Ilhan Omar, a Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer. Who is getting more media attention than her? And she's doing good in these settings. Don't judge by what you think is rational. Judge by the applause that you're getting from the studio audience. Judge by the fact that Whoopi and the rest of the crew are just falling all over themselves to kiss her feet. Judge her just by being invited on these shows. They love her. Now, what did she say that they were just, at the end of it, they were just in love with? Well, she said, if you're a MAGA, you're sick. You have a mental health issue if you support MAGA.
I mean, it is sick. It is really sick. And anybody that supports it is also sick. And so, we've got a mental health crisis in this country because everyone, no matter how you affiliate yourself, should be against Trump, period.
So she said you're sick, or I mean, if you support MAGA, you're sick. I know about 20 or so percent of y'all are lefties, and that's fine. You escaped this criticism of being sick. But yeah, see, when Team Red, generally speaking, not everybody, but when Team Red is asked to diagnose what's going on with Team Blue, there may be some mental health issues that are part of the discussion, but for the most part, I don't think you're demented people. I don't think you're bad. I don't think you're evil. I think you're probably well-intended. You probably want what's good for this country. You just need to stop believing what the people on TV say. Maybe your college professors weren't right. Maybe capitalism is better than socialism. Maybe men can't have babies, and you need to stop listening to the people that tell you they can. But most of what I see on Team Blue is a bunch of people who are misled. Good people who want what's best. They've just signed on, prescribed to the wrong worldview, the wrong economic system, the wrong, the political philosophy, as it were. But let me give you more context to this MAGA is sick here. A little bit before and a little bit after kind of spells it out.
I want to talk to you about some of the things that are going on.
Oh, by the way, that was The View. This is going to the Katie Couric Show.
I want to talk to you about some of the things that are going on in this country, Jasmine, before you go. What do you think about what has happened in LA and calling up the National Guard, the Marines, and basically saying this could happen in every state in our country?
I truly have no words. You know, you grow up as a little girl and you grow up as a little girl in this country. Let me clarify that. And you think, man, this is a great place to live and it's only going to get better. And then you become the adult version of me and you have a president that is openly just a criminal, like not just the convictions he's got, consistently breaking laws, ignoring court orders, violating the Constitution, and doing it all because he really is seeking this retribution that he campaigned on. He said, I will be your retribution. And so this idea that we don't care how many people get hurt, we don't care how we prostitute our service members, you know, thinking that you have your own special little army that's for you. I mean, it is sick. It is really sick. And anybody that supports it is also sick. And so, you know, we've got a mental health crisis in this country because everyone, no matter how you affiliate yourself, should be against Trump, period. This is not partisan for me. Like, I would give anything to have, it's sad to say, George Bush. Give me any regular Republican nowadays and I would be happy. But right now we have someone who does not care, and he is being enabled by the fact that there are, you know, people that follow him and they pump him up, as well as the people that are surrounding him.
All right, we're going to pluck this apart bit by bit coming up next on The James Show. Are you sick? Do you support MAGA? Why are you so mentally ill? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We continue with What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say this time next on The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Welcome back. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're in the middle of an episode of What Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time? Well, she said both on The View and the Katie Couric podcast and different paraphrasing that MAGA's sick. MAGA's a mental illness. And if you remember yesterday's show, we were having the discussion that Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, was making the good case that Trump derangement syndrome, the opposite, is a mental illness. Someone's close to the truth. But, you know, I think if you are so wrapped up in politics, like if you're scared or crying in the street or somehow you have negative impacts on your life, believing things that aren't true, then it is a mental illness. It might be a low-grade disorder, but which side does that fit better? 800-288-9227. This is Chris in Dallas. You're on WBAP. Go.
Hey, James. Good. Thanks for taking my call. I'm of the camp that I want her to run for vice president or president because that message didn't sell the first time. It didn't sell with Kamala, and it won't sell with her when she puts it on steroids. I mean, what I call racial determinism, she thinks all roads lead to racism. And so, you know what? Let her come out with that, and the Republicans will win hands down. That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's how you see it, but you don't think like they do. And I don't think she's a true believer in all this stuff. I think she is a smart girl that's playing dumb. And she knows what gets her voters riled up. She knows what gets them to the polls. She knows how to raise money. She's a hell of a fundraiser behind the scenes over here. I've seen some of the tabs on it. But also the determining factor on whether or not she's a good candidate to the eyes of the low information voter is just how good does she do in the media. And if you paid attention to that intro outro she had on The View, this is the kind of reception she's getting everywhere. And so the Democrat voting base is going to love her. I'm not sure she's going to be the easiest candidate to defeat. I think Gavin Newsom would be an easier candidate to defeat. In fact, I'm hard pressed to find a Democrat candidate that would be harder to beat than Jasmine Crockett in 2028. You know, because who are they going to stick her with? Like an AOC? That's kind of crazy town. But my concern would be, what if they stuck her with like a Mark Cuban? You know, that kind of covers both sides of the Team Blue spectrum. You know, the sort of sensible businessman, billionaire, and of course he's straight and white and male. And then you have the other side of the spectrum with her, even though she's not a true believer, she's sort of the avatar for the more extreme fringe, racially based grievance side of the Team Blue spectrum. I don't dismiss her for a bit.
See, I disagree with you, but you know what? I'll let me think about it. You've got a good opinion. I just think that if they can't sell this to the overall, to mom and pop kettle out in the regular guy out in the street's not going to buy this. They didn't buy it with Kamala.
Well, and that's the best argument that you have is how bad it just fell to Kamala Harris. She's way better than Kamala Harris. She doesn't have that annoying laugh. She's actually pretty, which shouldn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to you and me, Chris, but to a lot of voters, you know, they're more likely to jump on board if it's someone who looks like Jasmine Crockett versus Kamala Harris isn't pretty. And I'm not saying that to be mean or to just take a cheap shot at my political opponents, but it does matter, and it will be a huge asset. But listen, because I hear so much of her attacks on not just MAGA, but really Trump and conservatism as a whole, they're almost all ad hominem attacks. I feel like since she's not a true believer, we may come back in 10, 20 years from now, and she'll be one of the ones that has switched sides, like an Elon Musk, like a Joe Rogan, like a Tulsi Gabbard, like a Robert Kennedy, like a Donald Trump. Remember that? I think she is quite capable of being won over, which is kind of hopeful in my point of view, Chris.
Well, you know what? Let me think about your point there, but I will tell you that I truly believe that one of the things that killed Kamala was because she had that same thing, that same all roads lead to some kind of racism, some kind of homophobia, you know, and I just don't think the American public bought it. And it's not just guys like me. I live in Dallas. I live in a red state. I'm surrounded by red state ideas. So I live in a little bit of an echo chamber, but I really believe.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
I don't think they're going to buy this.
All right, good stuff, Chris. We're going to find out the hard way in about, 2.5 years or so. All right, thank you, Chris. And I wanted to finish up one other point that she was talking about here. She said that she doesn't feel safe as a Democrat these days.
Well, over the weekend, we actually saw a tragic and brazen act of political violence in this country. A Minnesota Democratic representative and her husband and their dog were assassinated. Another lawmaker and his wife were gravely wounded. And the suspect reportedly had a long hit list. So I want to ask you, do you feel safe as an elected official in this political climate?
No, not at all. I mean, here's the deal. I do this job, and the fact that my safety is a part of doing this job is really bad in and of itself. But while we spend millions upon millions just so that this guy can go and golf, or while they spent $45 million for his little birthday parade, I'm just saying, can we reprioritize some of those dollars?
So she's never really scoring a whole lot of ideological points in these arguments. Did you hear that? That's basically ad hominem. Hey, View, after President Trump got shot in the ear, did you bring any Republicans on and ask them, do you feel safe? After he had another assassination attempt, did you bring Republicans on and say, do you feel safe? After you had pro-Palestinian protesters run through a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans earlier this year, the other one that shot the 2 Jewish people in the back and murdered them earlier this year, the one who made the homemade flamethrower and Molotov cocktails and burned 8 people. What did you bring anyone on and say, are you worried about your safety? No, just in this one instance, in the exception that proves the rule of right-wing violence. Yeah, you got some concerns about safety. Interesting. That seems like it's almost a selective concern about safety based on your pre-existing political bias, but I'm not a mind reader. Coming up next, we're playing Name That Artist on The James Show. If you want to try and win tickets to see Seether and Daughtry, call in right now. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Name That Artist next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, you are just in time for our Friday game show, Name That Artist. Now, today we're playing for a pair of tickets to see Seether and Daughtry. Apparently, Garrett's a big fan of Daughtry. What? Really? This is what you get excited about, Daughtry? Oh, it's because you're an American Idol fan. I wouldn't tell people that. Aren't you trying to get a girlfriend? Kinda. All right, ladies, form an orderly queue for Garrett, the big American Idol fan. No, not to downplay it. It is kind of an amazing story. I don't watch American Idol. But if you want to win tickets, kind of late for that. The phone lines are kind of full. All right, so you can just play along in your car or at work or whatever you're doing. For Name That Artist, we're going to play this montage that has 10 songs in it. You have to tell me not the name of the song, but the artist to these 10 songs. Now, all you people on hold, do you have a piece of paper and a pen out? Or if not, maybe put your phone on speaker and then pull open a notepad file and then type in the names of the artists. So when I get to you, you can just rattle off all 10 real quick because you're not going to memorize it. You're not Rain Man. You're not Goodwill Hunting. Write this down, the artist to these 10 songs. Oh, wait, stop it. Actually, not important detail here. This is the summer edition of Name That Artist. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Garrett. Wow. So Bruce made this one, and in the pre-show meeting, we ran out the montage. I got 8 out of 10. I missed the 5th one and the 7th one. So if we don't have a perfect score in this one, I kind of use myself as a good yardstick. I'll be a little bit of a softy on you because some of these are easy, and I rule Name That Artist like a dictator with an iron fist. But this is about 80% easy, 20% tough. You guys on hold, I'm going to give you one more chance to hear this montage. We'll go to commercial, and then I'll come back, and then all you listeners can get the answer to these 10 artists. All right, correction. I got 7 out of 10 right. I've missed that last one too. I forgot. All right, the exciting conclusion of Name That Artist next on the James Show for 2 tickets to see Seether and Daughtry. That's coming up on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Talon. Talon. Just letting you know, you're going to be my first contestant when we get back, okay? Thank you, sir. Hey, Carl. Hey, you're my second contestant when we get back. If the guy before you misses one, I go to you, okay? Thanks, Carl. Hey, Mike. Just letting you know, you're number 3 in line. So if the 2 contestants before you miss one, you'll come up. You're number 3. Thank you, sir. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. We are here for the exciting conclusion of today's Name That Artist, the Summer Edition. If my contestants can name all 10 of the artists in the montage, they're going to get 2 tickets to see Seether and Daughtry, who are going to be at the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on November 11th. For the rest of us, we're going to get tickets at livenation.com. But we're going to start with Talon. Your name is Talon?
Yes.
Like the chickens have large talons. Like that?
Absolutely. That's exactly how I explain it.
Bet you've never heard that before. All right. Well, I love your name. Let's see if you know some music. You ready for Name That Artist?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's hear your list. Ready, go.
Okay, so I'm not going to have every one of them in order correctly. Bryan Adams, Mungo Jerry, Bananarama, Seal and Crofts.
I missed that one. Good job. Yeah, John Travolta.
And Kid Rock. That's pretty much sums up.
Oh, wow. You left like, what, 5 on the ground there. Hang on. Okay. Well, don't make it worse. Carl and Justin, you're next up on Name That Artist. Can you do better than Talon?
Well, I'm going to give it a shot.
Let's hear it.
Definitely Bryan Adams. I thought there was some Beach Boys in there, some Beatles, some John Travolta.
Yeah, there wasn't a Beatles, though.
Oh, okay. And damn, okay. The last one was John Denver. Was he in there?
There was no John Denver. Sorry, okay. Carl. This is a great effort. I appreciate you waiting on hold. Let's go to Mike and Toller. Toller?
Yes, sir.
Where's Toller?
That's way out in the country, sir.
You're another one like me. All right. So let's hear your list. What you got?
I got Bryan Adams, Mungo Jerry, Bananarama, Cat Stevens.
What? Who? Did you say Cat Stevens?
Cat Stevens?
No.
Yeah, I thought I heard him in there.
No.
No. Okay. Nasara, the Beach Boys, Kid Rock, and George Gershwin.
And who?
Nasara, I guess that's how you say her name, from the 80s. The Beach Boys, Kid Rock, and George Gershwin.
Yeah. So let me give you the list here. Hang on, I'm going to put them both on hold. So we had Bryan Adams, Mungo Jerry, John Travolta with Olivia Newton-John, Bananarama, Seals and Crofts, Will Smith, Sly and the Family Stone, which everyone missed, the Beach Boys, Kid Rock, and that last one was War. So I think Talon got the most, right? Is that on your calculations, Garrett, judges? And how many did Mike get? Yeah, so I guess it is. Talon, congratulations, sir. You're our big winner on today's episode of Name That Artist. Well done, sir. I'm glad you won. I'm going to put you on hold. Garrett will get you information, and we'll email you the tickets.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for playing. I'm glad I could add a little fun to your Friday, and I hope you enjoy the 2 tickets to see Seether and Daughtry coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on November 11th. For the rest of us, if you're a big fan, you can go get your own tickets at livenation.com. Jim Brewer, making fun of people with Trump derangement syndrome, been a big topic this week.
What is going on? Right? Like, it's past. It's past if you're divided politically. Even, you have to admit, even if you're like, I don't care as long as it's not you know who. That was like a demonic, like the devil came out and just whoever, like, we're gonna make people hate Donald Trump, hate. Get him. I hate Donald Trump. He's a racist. He's a deadhead, white supremacist. He's an insurrectionist. They lynch people. And I'm going to blame you because I saw the news channels. I saw them saying, he's racist, he's sexist. You would just wake up to pee in the middle of the night. He hates Mexicans and he says they're rapists and he hates black people. And We're gonna march! I have a vagina! I have a vagina! Oh, they knew what a woman was then!
And we're going to end this show by anti-request. This is people begging me not to play this song again. Hank Johnson, the guy who says Guam might capsize, Guam could tip over, he put out a song just for you, Hey Trump.
I'm compelled with a new guitar and with some thoughts about that old song, Hey Joe, you know, to give some commentary on where we are now. Hey Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand?
I'm doing this just to torture you. You realize that, right? Tune it!
Hey Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand?
All right, the G string and the B string are a little flat, sir. If you could just take care of that. No?
I'm going down the street and shoot down democracy.
Is that what we're doing?
You know I want to be a king someday.
All right, enough torture. That's going to do it for this week's edition of The James Show. Do me a favor. I need you to be like little disciples, little apostles for The James Show. Find someone you think would like this show. Tell them about it. If you see my stuff online, if you see it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube, whatever, share that out. That means more to me than you will ever know. Even if you don't have a big following, share. Help me grow this thing. I got kids. I need to keep this job. Stick around. Coming up next, Mark Levin. If you need more James Show over the weekend, find the podcast, and I'll be back to do this Monday at 2. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.